All right, welcome to League and More. We are offset because of the whole COVID thing. Joining me is Nick Palgrave. He's the referee with the Queensland Rugby League. And Nick, we've known each other for a long, long time. I think the last time we spoke, you'd registered 100 Intrust Super Cup games.
Yeah, I think it was. I was heading out to Nanango for country round of 2019, I believe it was. And as it's turned out, I haven't done too many games since then.
No, it's a bit like that, mate. Let's talk about referees. Obviously, it is the best seat in the house, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I had a conversation with a guy in referee education and development recently about some of the slogans that they've had in terms of their marketing, and as sort of cliche as it is, it is. You get the best seat in the house. You're out of the contact. You're out of all that other stuff that the players put themselves through contact wise, and you get to contribute to a pretty important spectacle, which is Intrust Super Cup, but all the major and statewide competitions for that matter.
Well, with the Intrust Super Cup and the new rules, we talk about how much fatigue there is for the players. You were 6 to go again. You guys don't get a breather on either side of the ruck, do you?
Yeah, it's been one of those things that the flow-on effect from that has sort of eaten into any sort of potential downtime we have with scrum clocks, dropout clocks, all those sorts of things, and not being able to stop for the penalty where we once did, where the game had stopped when you got your arm out and you're penalising for an infringement. The game just goes on now. It's quite similar to the free kick system in the AFL. It's good in a sense that you don't get bogged down in talking about decisions and things like that. But at the same time, in our evaluation process and review process, we're still working hard to ensure that, in terms of decision-making accuracy and the accuracy of those 6 mores are at an acceptable level. So, but there's no real breather anymore. Besides after a try scored, and even then, there's 90 seconds, and generally we're sort of back into it. So,
all right. I think we've got Gav there. Are you there, Gavin?
Yeah, mate. Gotcha.
Gavin Payne from the Brisbane Tigers. Got Nick Palgrave on the line here. Nick, Gavin Payne back in 1991 was probably underneath Eddie Ward back then, I guess. Gav, who's only just recently.
David Manson, actually, mate.
Pardon?
David Manson.
David Manson.
Yeah. Dave and Doug, they've been cornerstones of the Brisbane Referees Associations over the years, and they've played a pretty significant role in terms of officiating space in southeast Queensland and beyond.
Mate, I've got to ask one. The big question is, and they ask you, why would you be a coach? I know it's a fascinating story. How did you become a referee?
I got into officiating through suggestion of past coaches. So I was a pretty, I guess, animated player, and I probably didn't treat the match officials with the utmost of respect. So previous coaches of mine sort of angled me towards officiating and said, well, see what it's like on the flip side of the coin. You're happy to absolutely dig the boot in as a player and let all your emotion out onto them. So why not on the flip side see what it's like from their side of the fence. So in sort of year 10, we did a school-based referee program beyond the goalpost, which is still going now, and part of that was do a referees accreditation and sort of give back to whether it was your local club or more broadly the local school competitions. And that was sort of the reason why I got into it. And then, as it was, I was doing a pre-season down at West Brisbane when Trigger, who's I've been told has recently returned there. He was on the coaching staff, and then I hurt myself and hurt my shoulder in the same sort of preseason that I'd been invited by Eddie and John Top to train as part of the high performance unit, or as it is now, the junior reps program. So yeah, what turned out to be a bit of advice from guys who saw how poorly I was probably treating match officials to an opportunity into the HPU in 2009, 2010, and since then I haven't played a game of footy. So,
I think we mentioned when we was last time when we spoke, I think you had a choice between either working at Macca's or getting paid to be a referee, and it was a no-brainer.
Yeah, so I had a couple of jobs when I was through school in Coles and Domino's, like just the cliche jobs, just earn you $9 or whatever an hour, and then you toss up officiating and you sort of follow 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old kids around the field for 30 minutes, and the hourly rate turns out to be sort of 50, 60, $70 an hour. So yeah, when you're comparing apples with apples of an hourly rate, and then obviously part of that, you're giving back to the game, you're helping contribute to junior league and things like that, and you can barely call it exercise, but you're on the move for half hour, an hour at a time, doing some junior footy. So from that side of things, it was a pretty easy decision. And then as it's been, it's afforded me some pretty special opportunities over the years.
So we're talking about trying to get referees in the game. Obviously, they're starting to anticipate a little bit, and that's probably a little bit to do with the rubbish that comes from the sidelines and parents and all that sort of stuff. What advice, or what's your sales pitch for people thinking about being a referee? Obviously, you look at people who've played the game and want to give back like you have. What advice? Sell me a referee's pitch, mate.
It depends what people are into. Like, yeah, from my point of view, it was that contribution back to the game. Grew up playing the game, played it for 11, 12, 13 years, whatever it ended up being. Again, as a player, was afforded some pretty good opportunities, traveled with teams and things like that. And then for me, it was the contribution piece, the ability to give back to the game. Not that I owed it anything, but just from within, it was a nice feeling to be able to contribute back to the game. What I would say is that the good certainly outweighs the bad. Yeah, there are examples of poor sort of behaviour from spectators and administrators and whoever it may be. But especially from my experience, the good far outweighs the bad. And as you touched on earlier, the best seat in the house. You effectively, you're involved and you've got to make your decisions and you've got to communicate to the players. But at the end of the day, you're no more than 15, 20 metres from the footy at any single point in the game. And if you are fortunate enough to progress through the grades, like I've been on standby at State of Origin games for curtain raisers, done curtain raisers in final series, done some pretty important finals games in the Intrust Super Cup. So the good certainly outweighs the bad, and the contribution element in giving back to our sport is a huge part that I would probably pitch to anyone who wants to join the game and officiate.
All right, Gav, you on that line there, mate? You want to ask Nick anything?
Sorry, mate. Sorry. Just had a few hearing difficulties before. Not me. The phone was not playing up a little bit. So
I like how you
online now.
I like how you got my picture still on your wall.
You like that one, mate? That's a famous drawing done by someone I won't mention.
All right.
I didn't have anything particularly in mind for Nick. I haven't sort of caught the conversation so much to date, so I'm not exactly sure where you've gone. But Nick, obviously, the changes that have occurred over the Queensland Cup and the challenges for the referees. If you haven't asked this question as far as the COVID situation as well, I mean, not only the players are disappointed that they can't get out there, but no doubt the refereeing fraternity also not being able to do their work from week to week.
Yeah, most certainly, mate. and as it was last weekend, I was penciled in to do the game up at Maryborough between the Hunters and Wynnum. We were just south of Gympie when the announcement was made. So to sit in the car for a couple of hours and heading north, and you think in a couple of hours' time you're going to be out there and officiating a game of Intrust Super Cup, you're pretty pumped because like every game in that grade and in all the statewide competitions have been a real privilege. I just look back at the fact that there's only been 69 officials referee in the Intrust Super Cup since its birth in 96. So the fact of the matter is that less than 3 officials on average get the opportunity to officiate in that competition every year. So to be able to be missing out on that and there's much greater things happening in the world, so it's not the be all and end all, but it is disappointing because the contribution to the game and to the major competitions is something that our group of officials is pretty passionate about. And straight after the announcement, there was a lot of messages getting tossed about, and there was a couple of guys sitting on the tarmac. There was a couple who were on the plane already up to Cairns. So to land to find out that sort of opportunity was not going to be available for this weekend, and as it's turned out, this coming weekend also. It's tough, but at the same time, there's some bigger things happening in the world at the moment.
I'd imagine.
There you go.
I was just going to say, back in the old days, you would have kept going to Rockhampton and told the missus the next day.
Yeah. Look, I'm sure there's plenty of stories like that. It's all part of the journey, right, John?
All right. Well, let's get started. There's a new TV series coming out, mate. There's a lot of good-looking roosters around the moment here from the referees, Tyson Bruff, Dan Munro, yourself. A new TV show called Referee Wants a Wife. Mate, Tyson Bruff, mate, would he be the first one to be picked up? Just hypothetically, we're all single. Referee Wants a Wife. With the hair, is Tyson Bruff the number 1 draft pick in Referee Wants a Wife?
Look, I would imagine so. Tyson and I have spent a lot of time together. Before refereeing, we played a bit of touch together and things like that. So I know how good value Tyson can be, and most certainly he'd be right up there in one of the first draft picks.
What about Munro? He's pretty suave.
Yeah, mate, he works pretty hard on his body. So it'd be one of those things. Tyson would be the charismatic one who's throwing out jokes and things like that. And all Munro would really have to do is get his shirt off and get the wig out, because
he's smouldering look.
He's quite well put together in the sense, but he in the same time he works pretty hard for it in terms of his diet and his training and things like that. So.
All right. No, he does look delicious as well. Mate, you guys don't get the best sheds in the world. They're usually the smallest one. You get the foam box at most grounds, it seems to be. So you're obviously very, very comfortable. Mate, what's the banter before a game? We talk about coaches and players. Do you, as head referee, have a pep talk before the 3 of you go out?
Different people have different approaches. So for me, I'm someone who's quite relaxed in the lead up. I'll do a few things like whether it's read the team list, understand names. There's been occasions in my career where I've been caught out with phonetics and things like that. So if there are new players coming through the grades and things like that, I'll do my best to source someone who has a deeper knowledge in sort of the pronunciation of some of those names. But in all sense of the word, I'm pretty minimalist in terms of that side of things. Like I'll do little bits and pieces in the lead up, and then it's not until sort of the socks and shorts and whatever else are coming on before I sort of start to paint a little bit of a picture in terms of in terms of what our process is. And I'm sort of big on that. I sort of, if each person knows their job and knows their role and knows where they contribute into the process, that's basically all I sort of speak to of a game. Put yourself in a good spot, talk through your decision-making process, and more times than not, you'll contribute positively to the game. So in saying that, though, there's other guys who will do a significant preview of games. They'll know their team sort of inside out, and that's not to say it's a preconception or anything like that. That's just understanding, the trends that each team or each competition is sort of presented in the different periods of the year. So, there's a little bit of a pep talk amongst the officials, but sort of the magnitude of that, it varies depending on the style of the person.
Have you got anything, mate?
Nick, just going further on that, like a lot of players are a bit superstitious as well, and they left boot on before the right. Do you have any special pre-game preparation that you do specifically?
No, so when I get into the sheds, which is generally probably 90 minutes before the game, I'll put my bag down in a corner, and then that bag stays there for the rest of the day. I pull the whistle out, I put it on the sink or the table, and I'll just fill the barrel up with water, and that just I guess softens the pee for a 45-minute period before I head out there later in the day. But I'm not overly superstitious. That'd probably just be part of the routine. Yeah.
Mate.
Neil, do you have a backup? Sorry, mate. Just one quick one. You have a backup whistle, mate. What do you do when you blow the pee out of the whistle? It used to happen all the time back in the 70s and 80s.
Thankfully, that hasn't happened to me yet. I've in the 15 years I've now been officiating. I've changed my whistle once, so I've had to replace the like the key ring and things like that goes through the whistle itself, and a few wristband changes just through they deteriorate, and the amount of sweat that is captured in your wrists and things like that across the course of a season, 2 seasons, however many it may be, is quite scary. So there's been a few wristband changes, but I haven't actually had to change over a whistle sort of mid-game or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm going to especially watch your next game, mate, just to see how much you do blow the whistle.
The 6 more helps us. We don't have to blow it as much now because we can just keep the game rolling.
Mate,
yeah, fair enough.
So you say you soaked the whistle. My next question, I was trying to find the whistle. My daughter can't seem to find it. Do you guys do whistle training? Is it
never?
Hey?
I've never. Besides in the course, where you do a little bit of a practical component, I've never turned up to a match officials training session and practiced blowing whistles. It's a prerequisite of the job, right? And as part of how you present yourself and present your games is whistle tone and sound and things like that. So through evaluations and reviews and coaching over the years, you get a little bit of feedback on sort of how your whistle sounds and whether it's appropriate for each of those things. But by no means are we standing in a circle and seeing who's got the best whistle.
Yeah. I was just curious when you said you soaked it. I just wonder whether that gives you that extra that different noise to the one that I've got that you hear at the netball every Saturday morning.
Yeah. Oh, there's different techniques. Different people hold the whistle in different ways. So different pressures, different tongue positions. I'm getting out of my depth here because I don't have a massive background in like ability to sort of blow the whistle and make it sound all that good. I just know what works for mine. But if someone were to ask me, I don't imagine I'd be able to coach that skill as such, because there's just where the like one thing I would be able to sort of give advice on is sort of where it comes from, like deeper in your guts, as opposed to just short, sharp breaths is of assistance in terms of those bigger, longer whistle tones. But outside of that, no good. I can't help.
All right, so the bagpipes are out.
Yeah. I was more a strings man rather than woodwind or brass growing up.
Yeah, I see more of the triangle myself, but I could be wrong, mate.
Yeah, or the maracas or something.
Yeah, exactly right. Hey, listen, just before I let you go, Nick, you talk about refereeing, but you're also a very learned man. Obviously, you're very articulate on that, and you're a project manager still, or have you progressed from there?
Yeah, so I've been at the NRL in some capacity for over 10 years now. Started out as a casual and did a little bit of work in game development and things like that. More recently, been a project support or project officer. The new role now is project coordinator in workforce and game development. So the last number of years sort of been working through a project which was a player development framework, which was just a review of how the game was delivered nationally and some new ways of doing things to try and get the best out of our product, which is rugby league, and how we can foster personal development in our players, in our volunteers, in our officials, how we can attract and retain participation, because if we see a steady rate of decline, no longer are we a sport, we become a novelty. So there was a few things in terms of how we deliver the sport historically that I'd be happy to see them stay as a part of history, and just review how we do things in terms of how some registration options, some competition structures, things like that, from sixes right through to the elite level. So I've been working in that space since I graduated from university in 2016. Been in that project space for sort of 5 years now.
All right, Gav, you got one more?
Mate, nothing else that I can think of right at the minute, buddy.
All right, then. Well, Nick Pelgrade, mate, it's been a while. We asked you about 6 weeks ago. I know it was one last question, but we talk about the men, but we see Stephanie, Britt, Britt Stephanie, all these female referees. We need them as well, because the women's game is expanding at a very rapid pace.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And I guess the beauty of what I get to do for work is that I see that the female game is such an important part of our strategy moving forward in rugby league. And by us not sort of seeking female participation and female officiating participation, straight away you're forgoing half the market. So I think the appointments of Belinda and ladies like that, and even Kaylee Beattie, who was huge in terms of appointed to the touchline of the women's Origin game. We got to have a pathway that incorporates women and females, because the growth in the women's sport, which we see in NRLW expanding, we see the BHP Premiership in Queensland, the Tasha Gale Cups and things like that around the country. They're going from strength to strength. And again, fortunate as part of my job, the exponential growth in the female game masked a lot of the decline in male traditional segments historically in the past sort of 5 to 10 years. So the fact of the matter is that it's a huge market, and we have to incorporate females and women in all we do in our sport, whether that's playing, coaching, but from our space, most certainly match officials have got a really, really good opportunity, and the path has been paved from people like Belinda. So I can't agree with you more there, mate, that that segment of our sport is so crucial moving forward.
All right. Nick, we'll let you go, mate, because it's getting dark and whatnot. We look forward to hopefully we'll see you, won't be this weekend, obviously, hopefully the following weekend. I know last weekend has been abandoned. The weekend just gone, coming up, maybe rescheduled, but we'll wait for the QRL to make a call on that. So we're all sort of waiting on basically Jeanette Young to make a call on what happens from now on. So, mate, thank you so much for your time, mate. You're good luck with the youngster coming along. Hopefully, I reckon if it's a boy, John Gavin Belgrave. What do you think, Gav? That'd be a good name. John Gavin or Gavin John Belgrave. It's got a nice ring about it.
I hate to break it to you guys, but it's actually a little girl. So maybe Gavina or Jeanette or something like that. But as for Gavin John, I'll have to let that go through the keeper, gents.
All right, mate. All the best.
Thanks for your time, boys. Appreciate
it.
Thank you.
Talk soon, mate. League and more. This player I've seen him over the last couple of years absolutely knock the game out of the park. Eli Dawn joins me from God knows where. Eli, how are you, mate? Where are you?
Good, mate. I'm good. I was just in the office at home, sitting at home, can't do much, I suppose. So, yeah.
All right. Where were you on Saturday when you found out the footy was called off?
I was sitting on the couch watching the races, about to go to the footy. I was getting ready to go, and one of the boys in the team messaged me and goes, there's word going around there's a lockdown. I said, nah, can't be true. And then sure enough, popped up on the TV and, yeah.
Didn't play any footy. Did you lose a ton of money?
Oh, you can't win them all, you know.
Take that as a yes.
Anyway. The races, they booted them all out of the races too on Saturday afternoon. I heard there was crowds there till about 3:30 and then certainly in Brisbane and then out they went. So, I suppose they kept the horses running, but you could still use your money. You just couldn't be there in person.
Yeah, well, a quick change of events. As soon as I found out the footy wasn't on, I ended up at the races and then got kicked out.
That's outstanding, mate. Hey, listen, you're part of the Brisbane Tigers, mate. The outfit is rolling along nicely, especially for the Colts competition, mate. How have you enjoyed up until now, 2020? Your form's been really, really good, mate. You must be happy.
Yeah, the boys have been killing it. Unfortunately, I've been on the sidelines for a few weeks now. But up until I went out injured, we'd only lost a match and we're flying. So we're still doing pretty well. Unfortunately, we had a loss on the other weekend against Capras, but that's all right. Bounce back from that. But it's been unreal season so far. Teams like this and the success, you kind of just dream of it and hope for it. But it's been pretty real this year.
Gav?
Mate, so what's your prognosis, mate, with the injury? So you say you've been out for a few weeks. What's the comeback timeline?
Yeah, I've been out for about 7-8 weeks now. Unfortunately, I've only missed about 3 games of footy, I think. But hopefully I'm looking to be back in 2 weeks now. Still have to manage it and get through the season. It won't be perfect, but hopefully in 2 weeks, back playing some footy, you can get a bit of match fitness, manage the body, and be good leading into the finals. Hopefully.
Was it the sort of injury, mate, that you could continue to do your fitness work, or you're lacking fitness altogether as well now?
It was a funny one. It was gradually getting worse. I had osteitis pubis, and then I tried managing it. And then with that come a pretty bad torn glute, and I tried playing through that, which was a pretty bad call. But I've had to be off my feet for a lot of it. I've been able to be in the gym doing upper body stuff, but pretty careful with what I do. But past week or two, I've really been getting into it all, trying to prepare myself for footy. So it will be about a 4-week rehab, sort of heavy rehab to get me ready for my first game back. So I should be right to go.
It's time for the finals, mate.
Yeah, 3 games beforehand. Pretty handy.
There you go. Plenty going and another coming. Eli, with the Rugby League, how did you start out and end up at the Brisbane Tigers?
I started at a junior playing as a junior playing my footy at a young age at Marrickville, East Marrickville, with our feet. Yeah, I played through there till about 12, 13s, and our team didn't have enough players, so we ended up folding.
Yep.
I moved to the Carina Tigers, played there for a bit, and then, just ended up playing Melbourne Inga at East, and I've been there ever since.
Mate, obviously a link with the Storm. We've seen players make their way through this grade, the pathway. You must be really disappointed. Obviously, we talk about your injury because you were in really good form, weren't you, mate? Last year was an outstanding year for you.
Yeah, well, obviously, COVID made it difficult, but especially this year, I've sort of was playing some pretty good footy with the positional change that I've had. So started this season a bit slow, but I really sort of found my gear towards my last few games there before I come out injured. So it is a bit disappointing, but having that link there, I suppose, is good, knowing that if you play good footy throughout our system, the rest will take care of itself. So it's good knowing that the Storm use the boys in their feeder clubs. You just got to play good, consistent footy, whether it's in Colts or Cup, to find your way there, I guess.
Is this your final year of Colts?
No, I've got one more year of Colts.
Wow.
So, I've still got another year.
All right. Well, by then, Mark Glidden should be a lot uglier if possible. But tell us about Gliddo, mate. He's a very thorough coach, isn't he? He knows his business. He's come from the senior grade, obviously a former ISC coach with Norths for 5 years. But he sort of brought that knowledge to you guys who have got cars, girls, pimples, all that sort of stuff as well. But he's able to manage you guys pretty well.
Yeah, manage us really well, actually. He's been doing a great job of managing us boys, making sure that we all come together pretty well, especially this age, whether you get egos or different personalities and stuff like that, the professionalism isn't quite there for everyone, but Gliddo's done a real good job at making sure that doesn't create any divide and keep us all together. So he's managed all the boys exceptionally well, I've thought. So it's been pretty critical to the way we've been performing this year, I think. I think you can put a lot of it back down to how we work together as a team. So, he's been doing pretty well for us.
Gabe, you there?
Yeah, mate, still here. How's your old man going, mate?
Yeah, he's all right. He's still kicking, mate.
I had a little bit to do. We coached the season together as assistant coaches in Colts back in, I couldn't even tell you what year, mate. They all go by so fast, mid-2010s or something. So it was good to be associated with him.
Yeah, no, he was coaching up until I think last year or the year before. He's been coaching ever since. He obviously did a few Colts assistant coach Meninga a few times up at East, but he's just coaching at Carina, one of the 15s teams, but he stopped coaching now, but he's doing all right.
Does he stop coaching when you get home?
Hey, no, he's always coaching me and my brother. There's always
right, fair enough. Obviously, we talk about the Melbourne Storm at the NRL competition. That's a goal for you to get there, but obviously you've got to manage your injuries. Is the footy this year, because of the new rules, we see a lot of injuries, especially the Brisbane Tigers. Are the new rules, you think, fatigue one of those factors for the numbers dropping?
It's the new rules, obviously, they're pretty crazy. I hadn't played footy for a while because of COVID the year before and a few other injuries I had. So coming into this year, I was yet to deal with the 6 again rule, and it definitely takes a massive toll on your body. It's a lot quicker. You got to train, you got to prepare a little bit differently nowadays. So for sure, I think the fatigue and all the new demands of the game, the way it's changed, it probably does have an effect on the injuries, especially what we've had at the Tigers. We've been hit pretty hard, especially in our Cup squad. There are a few injuries, and even our Colts boys, we've taken some injuries. I think it does have an effect, but also, you just got to make sure we prepare pretty well, knowing how tough the game is now.
Mate, the loss against the Capras, we talk about Gliddo managing you blokes and egos. Was that a game where complacency was where you fell down?
Oh, it could have been. Going up to Rocky, it's a pretty tough trip. Capras are always up for their game, especially when you're going up to Rocky. The boys didn't play at Brown Park as well. They went out to Rocky Grammar School to play. So different scenery, could have all had an effect. I just don't think the boys really realised how hard Capras were going to come at us, and that they did. It was about 22-0 at one point in the first half. So, might have been a bit of complacency, but, it was just a tough trip that we weren't quite up for in the end.
The next game you've got, according to the schedule, according to Jeanette Young, is you're taking on the Cutters. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, so this weekend won't be round, and the weekend after we got Cutters at home.
So they're another side that you need to not take lightly. It's a cliche, I know, mate, but it's certainly you've got to start winning these games going into finals. I think the Capras loss is a good thing for the Colts. I hate to say it, but I think it was a good kick up. That Gav Payne may agree with me on that one because of you can get complacent in the last place you want to have that is going to finals. So it was a kick in the backside, and you need to really put the Cutters to the sword to get back on track. Yeah,
for sure. Training the week after, a few boys, we had a couple of tough conversations. Our video set was pretty tough. We haven't had that yet. We've had a pretty smooth sailing season. So a little bit of a wake-up call for everyone, even the boys who didn't even play, just to realise, what it takes to consistently be good and the things you got to do as a team to be consistent. So, hopefully now we can pick back up, knock off the Cutters and win a few games leading to the finals, and we can be peaking by then. But Cutters won't be easy. They drew with Wynnum earlier in the year, so that's a pretty tough gig. We'll be ready for them. Got them at home, so hopefully we can get the win.
What's your lockdown process, mate? How you handling the boredom besides the horses?
Trying to stay away from them when you got no work, and then you start betting on them. Doesn't go too well. We've been given a fair bit of stuff that we got to do. Within our team, we've all got to post our videos of us doing certain workouts and running and stuff to keep us all accountable. So we're all doing stuff, and I'm pretty fortunate I got access to a gym, so I don't have much else to do in lockdown apart from either sit around, eat, or do gym. So doing a fair bit of training at the moment, which is good.
That would be John's downfall, mate. The eating side of things, mate. He'd blow out to the 120 kilos.
Tell me about it. My God, I'll tell you what. Someone say KFC. Mate, you talk about training and that sort of stuff. Is there anybody in particular you don't miss around the training camps? A bit of a pest that you won't see him for a couple of weeks?
I'll tell you what, Lewis Gibb, his stories lately at training have been pretty ordinary. So
really?
Not having his pest of a voice around helps sometimes.
Yeah, so laryngitis or something like that, a bit of a thump to the esophagus, anything like that, keep him quiet?
Yeah, so I don't know. He needs something though. He talks too much, I think.
So do you say, like, when he calls you on a Zoom call, you say, I can't hear, even though his microphone's open? You
just don't even answer.
There you go. Easy as you like. So anyway, Eli, mate, listen, I really hope, I hope the injuries come good at the back end of the season. The Tigers missed you because obviously there's a flow-on effect with everybody. So hopefully you get back on the horse. Well, I shouldn't say horse. Maybe get back on something quicker, sooner rather than later. Gav, you got one last one?
Mate, no, just wish Eli all the best with his recovery as such. It's a painful exercise when you can't be playing. You feel well. I know you do feel well, but you can't be playing. And so, just all the best with that recovery, mate. Hope all goes well. Take it out of your old man and your brother. Up in Rocky, I think, isn't he now?
Yeah, he's up there. He's enjoying it. He's living at Yeppoon, but, a bit of a change.
I just got a text. Lewis Gibb said he's outside your place now.
I'll order him an Uber home.
You want to borrow Gav's dogs?
Yeah.
All right, all the best, Eli, mate. Congratulations on what you've achieved so far. And I reckon, ladies and gentlemen, if you are a gambling person, keep an eye on this man, and you wouldn't be surprised to see him in Intrust Super Cup sooner rather than later. Thanks for your time, mate.
Thank you. Cheers.
All right, League and more. John Buchanan, we are all in lockdown, and we're talking to JB at his castle on the hill, and he's disappeared.
Sorry, mate.
There we go. So, good thing you're not a proctologist. That's all I can say. Get those fingers out of there.
I'm trying to. Sorry, I had something on my screen.
Right. JB, in lockdown, you're at home, mate. Obviously, last weekend, 4 o'clock lockdown. What'd you do, mate? Where were you guys on your way to Bishop Park? Or you're already there?
Nah, we got a heads up early enough in the day to, pretty much had the feet up by midday, to be honest. So Yeah, mate. Obviously disappointing that we couldn't get a game in. But, yeah, I think at the moment there's a lot more people out there doing a lot tougher than what we're doing it in regards to getting a game of football. So, yeah, it is what it is. Hopefully we're on the way out of it on Sunday, and we can look forward to some footy in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, mate. What do you do? So how do you keep the boys' minds on it, JB? You know, what's the process? What are the players doing now?
Yeah, it's quite challenging, to be honest, Fanny. Obviously they're limited with what they can do in regards to their training. Obviously they can run. It is hard for us to monitor that at times, but our performance staff have set them some challenges, which they have to send through their times for. So, as far as their weights and stuff, unless they've actually got the right stuff at home, it's pretty hard for them to do that as well, because obviously the gyms are shut. It's more just most of them nowadays are pretty diligent with what they need to do to prepare. It'll just be more that, I suppose, team sessions and more their strength stuff that may suffer a little bit over the next week or two.
I guess, mate, as well, it gives the boys the opportunity to not miss games, and those that are injured are able to come back from injury. Same for all clubs, obviously. So, hopefully, whilst it's not a win or a loss against the previous week against North, it's another week that you'll get some players back on the field.
Yeah, well, I think we're a chance of having a few more available, not this weekend, but the weekend after. So, yeah, that is a bonus. Obviously, it's, we've got a few that have arrived back from injury in the last couple of weeks, and then a few more. So it's more about them getting some footy. It is pretty tough if they're coming off a long layoff, which all of our injuries have been. And then you're throwing them straight into a game that, can take them a few weeks to find their feet again and get their timing right and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, it'll be good to have a few more available for selection, but at the same time, we probably can't expect them to jump straight back to where they were before injury.
It's the same across the board too, isn't it, JB? Everybody's in the same boat. But I suppose the worst part about all of this is the uncertainty. We don't even know if we're going to be out of this rubbish this weekend. So I guess it's the old cliche, one day at a time, not one game at a time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I've heard sort of mixed messages already today. Just I've got a pretty close contact who's, may hear a few things out of the Premier's office before we all do, and seems to think that it may be extended a little bit longer, which, hopefully that's not the case. But, yeah, you're right. It's more, I suppose, each day at a time at the moment. Hopefully the numbers come down and we can get out of it fairly quick.
Who would you think you might be getting back, mate, in the next match?
Dan Russell should be available. He was pretty close on the weekend, to be honest. So, he'll still be able to do his running stuff this week, with obviously on his own. He'll be really close to playing. And Huey Pratt got cleared as well. So he's been out for probably 8 to 10 weeks now as well. And Dan's been out actually since round 7. So, he's been out for a long time as well.
I was just trying to do something with before the show to see, the length of time, the number of players you've had out in the length of time. But I'll continue to work on that and see if I can get some numbers. But, it's been a pretty horrific season as far as that's concerned for you guys.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's, I actually just did it myself for the last couple of days, just our team each round. I think going back to round 3 into round 4, we only had one change in our team, and that's the least amount of changes we've had each week was that game, which was we're coming out of the Burleigh win into the Ipswich game, and we only had one change, and that change was actually Jordan Grant back from injury and Brett Grinke out injured. So, yeah, it's number of changes each week. Some weeks, there was one week there, I think we had 11 or 12 changes to our team, which is just unheard of.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. JB, the NRL well, they might move down to Melbourne or whatever. But just prior to, I'd heard whispers that some clubs were trying to get some players to drop back and get some footy under their belt. Even at BRL level, trying to get some footy in, which was a shame that COVID hit when it did, because it would have been good to see some of those, if the QRL allowed it, to have some of those players to drop back and be involved and really promote the lower grades, if you will, and get some. They weren't big name NRL players, but they were players in that squad. It would have been good to see them out there and really juice up the BRL and the reserve grade.
Yeah, for sure. I think a number of clubs sort of reached out in regards to maybe a player or two, dropping into our side. We just felt probably, our link with the Melbourne Storm is really important to us, and we felt the need to provide the opportunity for their players if we had to. And we were more than happy to probably accommodate maybe another club just in regards to a player or two that had played for us.
Yeah.
But other than that, mate, I did hear there was a NRL clubs looking to put some players into the BRL comp.
So you had clubs not from the Storm asking if they could get some players from there to go into the BRL at the Brisbane Tigers level as well.
So it wasn't so much. It was more not directly from the coach. It was sort of from people inside the organisation and just seeing if it's something that we would entertain. Yeah, okay. We had a few clubs reach out to us.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's a bit hard, isn't it? You play all year and then all of a sudden they want to drop a few plays. But I mean, those players that we're talking about have been in isolation. They just want some fresh air and get out and play some footy, whereas some of our players obviously been playing week in, week out.
Yeah, well, up until, obviously our guys up until last weekend have been able to play footy. I think what's impacted a lot of the Sydney clubs is the New South Wales Cup has obviously was stopped about 6 weeks ago. So a lot of their players, play 22 to 30 or whatever that would normally drop back and play New South Wales Cup, hasn't had that opportunity to do that now for quite some time. And then obviously if, leading into finals, if they're required, they're going to be on, limited preparation from actual match footy.
All right.
Hey, what else, other than kicking the footy around, mate, what are you, other than studying video, no doubt, you must be sick of watching videos of games that you're not playing. What's the Buchanan household doing in lockdown?
Oh, mate, I was principal today. I'm pretty lucky, mate, to be honest. I've got a daughter in grade 11, and the young fella's in grade 8. So they pretty much, they take care of themselves. So it was pretty easy. My wife's a teacher, so she was at school. So I was actually watching a lot of footy today. I was actually looking at footy, just looking at some potential targets for us for next year. I've probably spent about 6 hours watching footy today, to be honest.
Anyone on the quiet you can let us know about, mate, or are you keeping that all under your hat?
No, not at this stage. It's still early. It's just more expressing an interest at the moment.
Sure.
There's a lot of, we're pretty fortunate, to be honest. A lot of the managers come to us in regards to, obviously wanting to try and get their guys in a Storm system. So, and obviously, the Tigers itself's a really strong footy club. So, it's not through. We have plenty of interest on players wanting to come to the club. It's just making sure that we're targeting the right players.
Just going sideways a little bit into your coaching career. So the game gets more and more professional every year, obviously. How have you coped and adapted to the changes over the career? You're at Wynnum and South and that, and now at the Tigers, obviously. What's the changes that you've seen come through over that period of time that you've been coaching?
Oh, a number of changes, to be honest. All aspects of your footy, from the planning of your training sessions through to your review process, to your preview, to your individual stuff with players, all your staff. I think when I go back to my first year as a head coach, I think I only had myself and an assistant and an S&C coach, and that was pretty much it. I think, I'll probably empower my staff a lot more now than what I did, say, 10 years ago. But I probably work a lot harder now than I did 10 years ago, to be honest, which can be like you got to be still really productive with it, I think. But at times your results can get muddled up in, like I'll go back, say 2014, I had a really successful year at Wynnum. I thought I was probably working really, really hard, and I probably was at that stage. But I work a lot harder now, and I think I've prepared my teams a lot better now than I did back then. But yeah, back in 2014, we had an extremely successful season, whereas obviously this year we're just not getting the results. So yeah, I suppose it's just continuing to develop my own or evolve my own skill set, in all aspects of our footy club.
You're doing it pretty well too, JB, at the moment.
Yeah, no, I enjoy all that personal development stuff. I've been working with a few people just on, stuff that I feel will make me a better coach and, a better person, better coach. And then obviously whatever I'm looking to improve myself, I'm hoping that I can pass, some of that stuff onto our players.
Mate, what's the biggest change that you think you've seen over your period? If you had to pick one thing.
Oh, God, it's an easy one for me, mate. And you'd remember this, Payne, when we played, mate. We found out we were in the team. We walked in, it was written on the board. We never really got too much explanation on why we weren't in the footy team. Nowadays, it's you've really got to have a real good care for your players in regards to making sure that they're aware of why they're not in the team and the things they need to work on. So it can be really time-consuming, that side of it. But that is definitely, player feedback is definitely the biggest thing that I've seen change in the game in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're sticking to watching the footy, because you would have set your children back about 2 months if you helped them with their schoolwork today, JB, just saying. And half the stuff, we said, what language you speaking, kids, but yeah, it is a tough time for everybody, and you hit the nail on the head. There's tougher things for everybody else out there. This weekend, obviously, there's no kids' sport. You can't go out and watch that. So I'm not saying you don't know what to do with your family. Like, everybody doesn't know what to do, because we can't go anywhere. We can't invite anybody over. We can't have other kids. We can't have any kids over. It's probably the worst of all the lockdowns, because the kids are getting sick as well. So it's going to be tough. You're going to have to put on your clown suit and do some juggling. I don't know. You got to entertain the troops somehow, mate. What are you going to do?
We're pretty lucky, mate. We all entertain each other. It's not too bad. I'm sure that I'll find something to watch on Netflix, or there'll be plenty of sport on the, from Thursday night. I think the footy's back on. I've been watching a lot of the Olympics. So I love the athletics and all that. So it is. I find the toughest thing, and don't get me wrong, it's not tough, but just going to the coffee shop and sitting down and having a chat to someone's probably something that I'll miss through this. So, yeah, it's only a little thing, and as I said, it's not it's a sacrifice that I'm sure we can all live with. But yeah, just enjoy getting out and saying hello to the locals at the coffee shop and that. Yeah,
and you wouldn't be seeing much of Gluto, will you? That's got to be enough.
Yeah, no, he rings me every day. I'm surprised actually. We had a Zoom meeting yesterday, and he actually got on it, which was remarkable considering he doesn't even know how to turn a computer on.
But did you just see the top of his head, like he had the camera all over the place?
He was actually good. We were all our staff were on it. We were all in shock that he actually was able to join us.
Well, that's why we haven't got him on here today, because we're a bit worried he might muck that up. But anyway, JB, listen, all the best. Obviously, we've got to wait for every press conference every weekend, every day to find out what's going on. It looks a bit scary. I know you got, as you said, you got contacts in the Premier's office. That's why you've got a pool, you got a lovely driveway, all that sort of stuff. Street lighting's immaculate. So
big mortgage too.
We might talk to you again next week and see where we're at. But all the best to the family on the weekend, and everybody stay safe if you can. And housemate, we'll talk next week.
No worries, Johnny. If I can just say to all the Tigers sponsors and supporters out there, we know we've had a really disappointing season for you, but we do have 3 home games coming up to finish off the season. So, hopefully we get to see us all back there and we can get some results for you at the back end of the year, and appreciate all the support.
Yep, that is Saturday week against the Cutters, Colts and Cutters at Totally Workwear Stadium. Fingers crossed we get that underway. JB, good call, mate. Yeah, our sponsors, very, very important. Totally Workwear Stadium. It's a place to be to catch up with some footy. We're all craving for some rugby league by then. All the best, JB.
Thanks, boys.
Thank you.
See you, mate.
Bye-bye.